the beautiful Lamborghini with a Mercedes in second place. Everyone keeping nice and tight around the twisties in the second half of the course. That pace car chilling at the front, everyone just trying to get support into their tyres, warm those brakes up a little bit. Here we're coming around Megulo, heading towards Junsao. Hard braking here. It's really hard to not go wide. And then the long accelerate up through turn 13, 14, 15 to the start-finish straight. This is pretty much flat out all the way up as we come up to the start-finish straight. And that hard braking down in Senna S. Someone lagging a little bit at the back there. The pace car is just toddling around the corner now. He's going to come in and everyone's lining up nicely. Got R. Jones, A. Holloway, Edmondson, Johnson. Here we go. The pace car is in. Just waiting for the leader in pole to really go for it. He's crossing the line, and here we go. Everyone's hard on the power now. Jones moving forward across to guard the position for Holloway, and he's getting some ground already as he's coming around the Senna S's. And you have to really be careful around here with this much traffic. These bends are tight and they're hard as you're coming around into the long straight of Rita Aposta. R. Jones is still ahead as he's braking hard into Decidia del Lago. Look at that beautiful Porsche livery, the pink and black. That's amazing. And here we go. We're ahead with Andres Bedoya, who's traditionally been very fast, actually, in these races. And someone's just spun off. Two cars have just spun off there in the background. We can get a quick link onto those. That was Barber, and here we go. A quick replay with Newman. And here we are on the front. We just switched to the. And it looks as though it was a netcode and car 9 hit car 13 and bounced them both off the track. There's going to be repairs. Is there going to be a safe rejoin for Newman? And he looks like he brakes nicely before. And we're back with Andres Bedoya, car number 5, and heading into Rob Windsor, who's made 8 positions now with his BMW there. That lime green looks pretty much like a Viper green there, as it's pretty sound as he's burning round up onto those fast corners to the start-finish straight, crossing the pit lane entrance. Rob Windsor is looking to really make up some ground, but he's actually being harassed by car number 24, and there's just doing a crash now, coming off in the Senna S's. We'll just have a quick replay there. Richard Jones is in front, and here we are with the bumper cam as he's coming into the Senna S's, taking little bites out of the corner and accelerates a little bit too hard and bounces off that Armco. That's a real shame. There's going to be some repairs needed there. I don't know if we can get an outside view of that at some point. And here we are on with Stuart Brown in position 7, and he has moved up 6 positions in that lovely red Ferrari. Braking hard around the Cuervo de la Regina, coming into. And he's trying to make up a bit of ground there on Matt Johnson. Just having a bit of a problem with my timing tower here. There we go. Right, that's better. Thank you. Right, so Stuart Brown is driving hard against Mark Johnson, and he's only half a second behind, although just behind him at 3/10 is just behind him. Holloway has just taken the lead on the start-finish straight. It looks like he's got a faster curve, but is that going to be retaken from Andres Bedoya? No, Adam Holloway has retaken it, and he's got the inside line coming into the Senna S's and has retaken the lead, sorry. And although he's not giving up just that quickly, and they are neck and neck. There's 1, 2, 3. Matt Edmondson in 3rd position there. He's really chafing at the bit, and trying to draft as much as possible, but it looks like Edmondson was just trying to take the inside track. Edmondson does a little wiggle, and he maybe goes a little bit wide, and that allows Edmondson to take the lead. Chris Chatterton is second, Adam Holloway in third. Matt Edmondson goes a little bit wide there, braking hard. He loses a little bit of time there. Chris Chatterton makes up some time, and he's really on his back wing there as he comes into those tight corners. Adam Holloway is 4 tenths behind him right now, but he's trying to make up space on Chris Chatterton, trying to draft him, basically looking for his chance to overtake. And we're coming up to these fast corners as we come into the start-finish straight, turns 13, 14 and 15. There's a lot of chance here. If you come out of turn 12, the Junsao really fast, really well, you've got a lot of chance to make up some places on these, which is effectively one big long straight. I know they're curves, but it's not much, and it's just foot flat all the way around. If you can draft and you're close enough, you'll be able to take a position. And here we go, they're moving onto the outside lane, ready to come for down for Senna S. And we've got Edmondson, Chatterton, Holloway on board with watching Adam Holloway as he bounces across a little bit of a curve there, bites out a little, and in sixth position, Mark Johnson in that red Ferrari, and he is being challenged by Stuart Brown, only 2.5 tenths behind him. He's looking really menacing as he comes down the Rita Oposta straight. Is he going to try and outbrake him as he goes round the Interlagos, the twin corner? Mark Johnson holds on to it, even makes up a little bit of ground there, and he's opened it up to half a second lead. He's gained 4 positions, and we're back on now with Matt Edmondson in lead position. Edmondson, Chatterton, Holloway. Chatterton's dropped a little bit behind. He's 3 tenths, 4 tenths, 5 tenths. Edmondson has just taken the lead. Chatterton's just taken the lead. No, that was my mistake. Sorry, the timing tower was messing up. There we go. So Adam Holloway is so Edmondson is starting to open up a little bit of a lead there over Chatterton, 7 tenths ahead now, and Chatterton is only half a second ahead of Holloway. Holloway obviously looking to regain that first position that he grabbed and then lost as through the little bit of error coming through the corner, but it's actually he's been caught up by Bedoya. Bedoya is only 2 tenths behind him now, so Bedoya is probably looking to take advantage of Holloway's being a little bit slow through these corners. And is he he's 4 tenths behind Holloway. He's lost a little bit of time now. He's gained some in that last corner coming down the Rita Oposta straight. Here we go, we've got Edmondson, Chatterton, Holloway, Bedoya, Stenning, and there's probably only a second and a half between them. And we're here with Shane Abbott, who's just about to overtake. He's got the inside line over that BMW. He's still taking it, and he's not giving up. The BMW has managed to carry more speed. He's got a bigger radius, but then Shane Abbott has now crossed it again to try and get the inside line again, but the BMW is too far ahead. Perhaps some fine defence there from car 240, and he's now got the inside line, but he's had to outbrake himself. Goodness me, that was really close. That was actually really gentlemanly. He tried to he braked harder so he wouldn't bounce into the BM. That was fine bit of driving there. So Shane Abbott is trying again all of the time. Hooper is defending fiercely here as he's coming into now the Megulo before coming round to that tight left-hander to Junsao, and we're on board with Mark Johnson now. He's being challenged by Stuart Brown. Mark Johnson has just lost a few places, and Stuart Brown is now only 2 tenths behind this Ferrari. Looks like he's drafting him really well. He's only 1.5 tenths behind. And here we are now with Seb Stenning in 5th position. He's looking like he was challenging for 4th on Bedoya, and he's going again around the outside. Bedoya's got the inside line, and he's trying to get a bigger radius. Bedoya's got the inside line there, though. And here we are neck and neck coming into that Cueva del Sol. That was brilliant driving, brilliant defence from Bedoya. No accidents there, which is excellent. Seb Stenning now still only 2 tenths behind Bedoya, and is probably looking to take advantage of Andres's more mistakes at some point down the line. Still on board with Seb Stenning. Stuart Brown just behind Seb, challenging that position there. He's really tight up behind that Lamborghini, looking for any, and looks like Bedoya's gone a little bit wide there, and Seb Stenning has taken a tighter line there to get a better exit of that second corner. But meanwhile, Stuart Brown has been caught up a little bit by Mark Johnson. He obviously misjudged those S's, and they're all starting to bunch up a little bit now. And this is pretty tight racing here for 6th, 5th, 6th, and 7th positions, as we're coming into that really tight Junsao corner and that long straight, and back with Matt Everson in the lead, who Chris Chatterton is only half a second behind him, and Adam Holloway has started to drop back a little bit, 7/10 behind. Edmondson is starting to look a little bit more comfortable in lead, and Chatterton took that turn 15 quite nicely and managed to put up another 1/10 of a second as they're breaking hard into Senna S's. And now look at that, that is only half a second between them, but Edmondson holds his nerves as he's coming around the Cueva del Sol, and here we are on with Chris Chatterton on the front suspension. All we can see is the back wheels of Matt Edmondson, but that's because he's so close, that's not a problem. And he brakes extra late, maybe trying to make a little bit of time. And Matt Edmondson has been threatened and he goes fully wide. Chris Chatterton takes advantage of Matt's error and takes the lead. Matt Edmondson now is 3/10 behind him. He's going to look to regain that as soon as possible. But Adam Holloway has made up some time on Edmondson, so he's now only 3/10 behind him. So this is great stuff from Chris Chatterton. He's into these hard braking S's through the middle of the course, Pinarino, Bico de Prato, into Megulo. And here we are now with Samuel Hooper, who looks like he's just lost a position there to... Samuel Hooper has just gained a position there from the BMW, and the Ferrari is now looking to regain that from the BMW. Hooper in that blue BMW, driving hard up through the start-finish straights as he comes onto there, hard on the accelerator. Back with the Windsor McMullen tussle, and that was a great pass. Oh, that was a real shame. The Lamborghini went a little bit wide and then managed the old switcheroo on the BM as he managed to get the better line through the next corner and has got the inside line all the way up that fast, and he's pushing really wide to defend. But it's pretty good driving there. The BM has to drive wider, but will he be able to maintain more speed because of it, because of that higher radius? So he's now, the BM is slightly still behind, but the Lambo has the inside line around the Senna S's. The BM is looking to get the inside line for the next one and has it. That was brilliant driving right onto Cueva del Sol and onto the Rita Opposta, so he can consolidate his lead with a good exit. And back to live now with Mark Johnson, who's gained 2 positions, and he's got Shane Abbott right behind him, 0.4 of a second behind him. He's looking to really challenge for that 8th position. We've got 2 Ferraris battling it out here. The Ferrari in the traditional red, Mark Johnson's traditional red, with the Shane Abbott's slightly non-traditional blue and red. But Johnson is starting to move up to Hooper, and back on now board with Bedoya, who's moved up to Holloway. And we've got Stenning right behind him, only, well, half a second behind him. And that seems to have been pretty consistent for the last couple of laps when we last saw this bit of action. But Andres Bedoya is clearly looking to try and catch up Adam Holloway, who's now a full 2 seconds ahead. So I guess Andres and Seb battling it out has really slowed them both down and allowed those front 3, Chatterton, Edmondson, Holloway, to break away a little bit. But Holloway is still only 2.2 seconds ahead, and Matt Edmondson 2.4 seconds ahead. Here we are on with Bedoya. Still heading on with Bedoya, and we've got a replay of the Richard Jones accident here in car 99. It looks like he tried to regain control, and goodness me, over accelerated that little bit, spun, managed to rejoin safely. Sadly, in last position, it looks looking like, apart from the damaged cars. And we're back on board with Andres Bedoya in 4th position, who's managed to make up half a second on Adam Holloway. But Seb Stenning is still breathing down Andres's neck And there he is, right on his tailpipes there. So it's braking hard into Mergulo as they're coming, going wide as possible for this really tight Junsao left into that long charge up to the start-finish straight. And Seb has not managed to make any time on that exit, with Andres really getting a good exit from there. Andres is starting to make a little bit of inroads to Holloway, and Seb is ever so slightly closing. He's probably like 500ths closer now, and he's really braking late. He's desperate to get in there. Manages to avoid the back end, but still, has he taken a better line? We'll find out. No, Andres has really got a much better exit onto Cueva del Sol and Rita Aposta, and has pulled out half a second lead. So I think maybe Seb overbraked a little bit. And James Foster there. Whoa, there's a big slide. He possibly went into that a little bit fast there. That was a lovely slide, though. Crowd pleaser. Here we go. Looking to try and not bounce off the Arco as he's trying to spin round. And back on with Samuel Hooper in that blue BMW. And he is, let's see, he's 4/10 ahead and 4/10 behind. So he's right in the middle of this sandwich of cars. Probably looking to try and make some good inroads into Stuart Brown's timing here as they're coming around this tricky middle section, Pinarino, Pico de Plato, and before that pretty soft left. It's actually quite it's quite dispiriting sometimes, this left. It thinks, oh, you're not so hard, and you go into it a little bit too fast, go a little bit too wide, and you lose the exit for Junsao, and then that's all of a sudden that's your 13, 14, 15 all stuff. But there we go. So Hooper is now half a second behind Samuel Brown, and now here with Edmondson and Holloway. Holloway is looking like he's just drafting there, and he's looking to regain, and that is a lovely late break into that first left-hander. Has the inside, but allows Edmondson to take the inside for the next right-hander, but he's still only... Oh, he's probably only about an inch off his bumper. Got the draft beautifully out of the exit, and he's on the way down the Reta Aposta straight. And it's a drag race, and they're swapping positions backwards and forwards. Edmondson has dropped to third. Holloway has taken second. Edmondson had to back out a little bit as they come around the Decidio del Lago. Again, it can be dodgy corners there, and there's now four cars on the track right now, battling for third position. And it looks like Edmondson has dropped back a little bit. That battle has shaken him a little bit and allowed Andres Bedoya to catch up, and also Seb Stenning to catch up with Andres. So we have three cars vying for position 3, whereas Adam Holloway is starting to move away. And it looks as though Matt Edmondson got fastest lap there. I don't know. I don't think there was a touch there. Oh, there was a touch. There's someone bounced off ground. That's a real shame. That was shaping up to be a great tussle. And let's see now. So, yeah, it was a little bit late on the brakes. I think we saw that a little bit earlier with Seb Stenning. That's a bit naughty there, just driving into the side of him. I think we saw that with Seb Stenning braking a little bit late into the Senna S's earlier on, 2-3 laps earlier, and had to recorrect and let Andres get a little bit of time on him. But it looks like Seb maybe allowed frustration to overtake him a little bit and kept his foot in, which is not ideal. So here we are on board now with Samuel Hooper. Now he's looking to go around at the outside and allows Stuart Brown to swap to the inside, and is looking to get a good exit onto the Reta Aposta. He's only 2/10 behind him, and some good braking here into the Decidio del Lao twin corners will allow him to maybe pull out and maybe overtake on the inside of Stuart Brown's. And that was a really close. There you go. He's just got a bit of slingshot there, and the Ferrari wanted to take advantage of that battle as well, but didn't manage. And Stuart Brown has got the inside into Ferradura as they come round into La Regina. And goodness me, I think Samuel Hooper got a little bit rattled by that and has allowed Mark Johnson to take his position. So that is another position he now has to win back, due to Stuart Brown defending spectacularly well around that turn 6 and 7. Adam Holloway now is in second position, with Matt Edmondson really challenging for that position. And it looks as though Chris Chatterton is starting to walk away a little bit. He's 4 and 1/10 seconds ahead. Meanwhile, the battle for second is actually hotting up. Edmondson tries to go around the outside and then swap to the inside and allows Holloway to go around the outside, maintain a bigger radius, more speed, but Edmondson has the inner corner. But is Holloway going to be able to do the switcheroo as he comes around on the Curva del Sol? And Holloway has let him go. Edmondson has managed to squeak into second position. That was some nice overtaking there around those. There we go. And back to Seb Stenning, who's still in the race, and I imagine he'll be protested. And this is a case for live stewarding. If I've really seen, Seb Stenning is now looking to challenge Samuel Hooper in that Lamborghini in the BMW, but Seb Stenning's in the Lamborghini obviously, and there's Seb Stenning's teammate behind, Alan Leather, by the looks of it, right about some similar front ends, but no, the rear livery is slightly different. That's cool. Okay, so Seb Stenning now is only half a second behind Samuel Hooper, who's going to need to defend because he's now allowed Mark Johnson to open up a whole second on him. So maybe Samuel Hooper is best in like close tussles, but not when it gets really down to the edge, because he has got someone to race against. So Seb Stenning now is half a second behind Sam Hooper as they're coming up that long charge up to the start-finish straight. Past the pit lane entry. He's lost a bit of time on Sam Hooper, and Sam Hooper's made up a bit of time on Mark Johnson. He's now only 3.5 tenths behind as they're braking hard into the centre S's. Seb Stenning has made up 3 tenths on Sam Hooper coming down the Curva del Sol, and Edmondson now is looking to retake Holloway is looking to retake third position. Edmondson defending hard, coming down into turn 6 into Ferradura. This could be a tricky section of track here. There's lots of corners all on top of each other. You really have to choose the best line. And Edmondson seems to prefer that going wide there, and the Merc seems to prefer a tighter line through Ferradura and Cueva de la Regina. All right, here we go into that hard right of Bico de Pato. Back to Seb Stenning, who's closed up a little bit on time on Sam Hooper, and is now probably looking to take advantage of any error in the next couple of twisties for Junsao and that long charge. Here we go. Right, this is it. That was inside track. Now, has he allowed Sam Hooper to carry more speed through the corner? He tried to outbrake him and go down the inside line, but Hooper was not having any of it and kept his foot in and has managed to open up quite a bit of a gap on Seb. Actually, he's back to half a second ahead, and meanwhile Alan Leather is now looking to challenge Seb for 7th position, it looked like, and he's braking hard into the centre S's. Seb has caught up Samuel Hooper a little bit, 3 tenths behind, coming to Cueva del Sol, heading down the long straight of Rita Aposta before that double left-hander of the Do Lago, which has claimed so many scalps in official races. Seb closing up a little bit as we come into the second middle part of the course, all the twisties, Ferradura and La Regina. Again, tries to go down the inside. Hooper not having any of it. Forces him wide, just takes a slightly wider radius, but now actually allows Seb Stenning to get alongside, but still has the inside court. And it looked as though the BM was maybe starting to slide a little bit as Hooper was trying a little bit too hard just to stay ahead as they go into Mergulo and braking hard before Junsao. And Seb does not try the same move as he did before and manages to hold onto the back end of Sam Hooper, still 0.45 behind him. lost a little bit of time. I think Hooper managed to still come out of the corner a little bit faster. And here we are with Matt Edmondson in second, and Adam Holloway still challenging hard. He's really driving that GT3 Merc on the edge. You see that bounce off the curb, and he's just managed to grab hold of it before it spun round, and lost a little bit of time there, and allowed Matt to edge forward, and then to build up like nearly a half a second gap. And they were looking for that rear spoiler, that glorious grille of the Mercedes, pounding it down that straight towards Ferradura. And he's looking like Edmondson is really trying desperately to keep Holloway behind him, and he's doing a good job so far, but he's still only still maybe half a second as he's coming through those twisties, and it's looking like the Porsche is slightly better. And we're back in now with Seb, who's still challenging that BM, with Alan Leather challenging Seb. It's looking like Seb is getting totally absorbed by trying to overtake Hooper and forgetting about Alan, and allowing Alan to maybe make up some ground on him. He's only 3.5 tenths behind him now as we come into Junsao. So all the while, Seb is desperately trying to overtake this BM, and maybe allowing Alan to build up a bit more time. But Alan looks like has not come out of Junsao quite so well as Hooper and Seb. Seb now only 3 tenths behind Samuel Hooper as they come into that hard braking zone. We'll see how the BM does around here. And Seb might well try and take the inside line again, but the BM defends well, defends both insides beautifully as they come around the Cueva do Sol onto the Rita Aposta. Comes out of it. Yeah, still neck and neck, really. Still 3 tenths behind him. No one really won or lost in those centre curves, which is pretty good driving for both of them, really. There were different lines were taken nearly, but it shows that the quality of the on show here. And we've got Edmondson here in second position, with Holloway only 3 tenths behind now as we come into Ferradura. Matt Edmondson just takes quite such a wide line there. I wonder if that wide line that he took earlier was due to nervousness or pressure, but he still managed to hang on and carry some speed through it. So perhaps he felt he wanted to. Here now, we've got Samuel Hooper around the inside, and looks like finally Seb has taken position from Sam. So now Seb moves up into 6th position, and can Samuel retake that, or is he now going to have to defend against the Lamborghini from Alan Leather? So Seb is now 6 tenths ahead of Samuel Hooper. So it looks like he's pulling out. Sam has really tried a little bit too hard, ran really wide onto the grass there. That's really going to affect his time. Allow Alan to take that position. That's really unfortunate for Sam. The Lambo is going to maintain a much higher slingshot speed there around the inside. Sam desperately trying to hang on to it, but try and maintain more speed on the wider line, and he's probably going to try and outbrake him here, and brakes a little bit too late going around the inside there. Alan is trying to take a nice line. Hooper is desperate to regain that, and he's totally Holloway and Emerson are now side by side there. There's 200s in it now, 1 second, and Holloway has taken the position in his Merc GT3. Edmondson was trying to try the switchback there. He's still drafting now. He's going to try to go around the outside, but Holloway has defended that line back through the line, and Alan Leather and Samuel Hooper are weaving backwards and forwards. So it looks like Alan lost that place there, and Alan has gone well wide. I wonder whether that was by design or he was trying to nearly outbrake himself and wanted to get a better entry into the next corner, but it seems as though he lost a little bit of time there. He's now 6 tenths behind Samuel Hooper. Meanwhile, that little battle has enabled Seb Stenning to move ahead to 1.5 seconds over Sam. So Sam is probably looking to put this battle with Alan behind him and try and focus and concentrate and catch back up with Seb, because he really wants that position 6th back. And he fought for it for so long, and Seb was actually really patient and saw his chance and took it. So Alan Leather is now 6 tenths behind Samuel Hooper, and he's 3.5 seconds ahead of Shane Abbott, so there's no real danger there. But we're back to now with Adam Holloway and Matt Edmondson, the second and third switcheroo battle that's been going on all race so far. And it's though Holloway has opened up a bit of a lead there. 4/10 as they're coming down to Reto Posta, but there's going to be a lot of draft there for Edmondson in the Ferrari as they come into those hard lefts. And here we are now back on with Bedoya in 12th position. That's unfortunate for Andres. He was in 5th and moved up to 4th at some point, but I think he got there was an incident in the I think turn 8, which with Seb Stenning, which pushed him into the pit potentially, or maybe he just went back on track and dealt with the damage. But there's now a 3-way fight here for 12th, 13th. Yeah, Wittenberg, Davis, and Bedoya for 10th, 11th, 12th are always like they're within half a second of each other, which is like pretty close for 3 cars to be around these twisty sections in the middle of Interlagos. Aggressive camo front there from Wittenberg. Should probably have it on the back to try and hide from John Davis. And here we are into the last lap. It looks as though Chris Chatterton has just passed and has just triggered the last lap as he's waltzing around the course, happy as you please, miles ahead, 7.5 seconds ahead of everybody. Back to Andres Bedoya now in 12th and John Davis in 11th. Bedoya's trying to go around the outside, really fighting for that 11th position. He should be a lot higher, but he's allowing Davis to take the inside line. I mean, he can't really, both cars can't fight for the same position, but Bedoya now wants the inside. And looks like there's a little bit of a touch there, and he knocks out. We'll maybe see a replay to see whether there is actual touch. And the Porsche of Bedoya and the Ferrari touch. Edmondson is in 3rd position. He's actually been caught in by Stuart Brown. Holloway is in 2nd. Edmondson 3rd. Stuart Brown is really close. Now he's challenging for a podium position. And the Ferrari of Edmondson really should be able to do well with this BM. He's done well all race and he's been lapping fast all race. So I wonder what's happened to him to allow Stuart Brown to catch up. Perhaps he's had a little bit of confidence rattled by Holloway. But he's allowed Holloway to pull out a bit of a lead as they're going into Junsao and heading up those big corners, big left-handers up to the start-finish line with Chris Chatterton as he crosses the line in 1st position, a good nearly 8 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. That's a great drive from Chatterton, allowing Holloway and Edmondson to fight for 2nd and 3rd. So there we go. We have Chatterton, Holloway, Edmondson, Brown, Johnson, Senning, Hooper, Leather, Abbott. Wittenberg is next, unless something horrible happens in the last 100 yards. Bedoya is trying desperately. Oh my goodness! And tries to bounce. That was a really poor attempt at an overtake. And Wittenberg, and then Bedoya. Did he not even make the finish? He did just make the finish. He was lucky with that. Turner, Davis, Pearson, Stringfellow. And we got Bamber coming in 16th position. And Foster, yeah, that Lamborghini just spun into one. That was unfortunate. It's not managed to regain any places. Crosses the line in 17th. Richard Jones, he started in pole position, is now in 18th after that unfortunate spin. And then we've got Barama and Windsor. Does Barama finish? Yeah, there we go. Windsor in 20th position. Windsor is a lap down. Oh, goodness. And here we are coming up with the sprint results. They'll be popping up on the screen soon. So in 1st position, Chris Chatterton in his 911 GT3R, followed by Holloway, Edmondson. That battle for 2nd and 3rd was excellent all race. There was a lot of swapping and backwards and forwards there. Stuart Brown nearly managed to take podium off Edmondson right in the last lap there, but ended up with 4th position. Then we have Johnson, Senning, Hooper, Leather, Abbott, Bedoya in 10th. Turner, Davis, Pearson, Stringfellow, Bamber, Foster, Wittenberg, Jones, Brammer, Windsor, and Newman in 21st position. And any second now, the championship grid will be coming up. As all the drivers slowly return to pits and start to lick their wins. Bedoya remains in first position with 76 points. Matt Edmondson has moved up a position with 70 points. This good result this year, this race will well have contributed to that. Tennant drops a position. Chaddison in fourth, Shane Abbott in fifth, Adam Holloway sixth, Mark Johnson seventh, Wittenborg in eighth, Damien Lebet in ninth, Cheryl in 10th. Well, thank you for joining us for the short race. I believe my colleague Tim has joined us in the commentary booth.
I have indeed, Ian. How are you?
Hello, Tim. I've got a bit of a sore throat, a bit of a cold, but I got it off my daughter. She's got an ear infection. You know,
kids
children,
gotta love them, mate.
Oh, mate, they're just total disease magnets, aren't they? Anyway, so you just got to soldier through. But I think we've got a bit of an intermission here while the second race gets set up, and we can introduce Tim. Tim Cox, as you all know and love Tim Cox, he's the stalwart of the GT3 racing, and we'll be doing the play-by-play for the main race, and I'll be doing the colour and just chatting flannel.
Well, it's what we're good at, isn't it, Ian? Just picking up some of the comments over on. Well, we'll start with Twitch. Daniel RDS, Interlagos, your hometown. Well, what more fitting race really to be having tonight? Nice round up to what's been an absolutely epic weekend of motorsport. Obviously, we've had IndyCar. What else we had? We've had, of course, the biggie that was Le Mans 24-hour, which some absolutely epic battles in that one. But I think there was drama in that with the two LMP2s after 24 hours finishing 7/10 of a second away from one another. Just I'm sure you're in for even more delights tonight. So don't forget to make sure you let's move away. Obviously, you off to grab a quick cup of tea or something, a quick beverage and a bit of refreshments, ready for the next race that's coming up for you shortly, where we'll cover a bit of qualifying and then obviously we'll head across to the race, which will be a 30-lap bonanza filled full of action and excitement around Interlagos. There was another one as well, which I was going to pick up. We've got Bradders P70 saying BMW is the beast everywhere at the moment. I tell you what, Ian, one really, really nice thing to see was, after we see just so much dominance from the Porsches all season long, is that we had 4 different manufacturers in the top 4.
It's a really good point, actually. Yeah, I've not really thought about that. I was just kind of really, really sucked into the race. But yeah, we had the Porsche in first position, and we had the best engine in the world, that Mercedes GT3 in second. But yeah, it's a true statement. Actually, it's really good to see. It's nice to see that one manufacturer is not running away with it, because it will just make everyone choose that, and then you might as well have a Porsche race.
Well, it is. It's where it's become a little bit tricky, right? As we say, obviously with the Porsche being brand new to iRacing, obviously the platform that we use for our leagues, and obviously, like a new shiny toy, a lot of people have flocked to it, especially a lot of the front runners, especially within the the pro and the elite categories, and we've seen, that's why it's almost a little bit of a false negative, positive in some ways, that it just looks like they're so dominant, but it's just because there's so many people driving them. I mean, we've got Jonathan Hitchin, who's stuck with since season 1. He's still staying loyal to Ferrari. Likewise with David Lawson as well. They're sticking to their guns and not moved away. We've got obviously the likes of Busby, who's made his switch from Ferrari across to Porsche. We've got James Armstrong, who's had a go in pretty much every manufacturer going, it seems. And then we obviously got Nathan.
He's strong, and he's strong in all of them as well. That's not.
He is ridiculously strong in absolutely everything he seems to touch. He just seems to have that natural gift that he can just get in the car and instantly start being fast. It's truly spectacular to watch, really. And
Tim, what was the first GT3 car you? I mean, was it the Ferrari by any chance? Because that's kind of the first within iRacing. That's the first one that you kind of maybe want to try and dip your toe into initially.
Yeah, it was the Ferrari. Of course, obviously, once you, migrate out of rookies, obviously one of the options that you're presented with at D class is the fixed Ferrari's official sessions.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's so popular and so strong. Combined with the Ferrari is always strong in the straight line. It's got plenty of straight line speed. So I think that's what makes it so popular.
I don't know about you. I could never drive the thing. I always spun it. I was just like, I mean, maybe I was on my old rig and I was new to iRacing, and it was just like all of this power under your right foot, and you just like chuck it into a corner. Oh, I'm in the Arco again. And then I tried the Lamborghini, and it didn't seem as tail happy to me. I'm not sure what your experiences were with that.
Yeah, it's funnily enough, that was the other car that migrated across to, and it's a bit. It started off quite stable for me, and then obviously a bit of BOP kicked in as well, mid-season update, and it wasn't quite the car to have. The BMW is just brilliant across the curbs. Never had the pleasure of driving it myself. Mercedes is a little bit tail happy. The Audi's the hardest to drive, where it's very, very pointy, but if you can get it right, it's electrically fast. And
I guess it suits. I guess it suits a particular driving style, doesn't it? Because because you can look at a track and any corner can maybe have 2 or 3 different lines around it, and if your style suits that point and squirt that you were just saying with the Audi, then perhaps your line will be totally different to a Porsche, and so some tracks will suit you, and some tracks won't.
Well, that's just the beauty of GT3s. You've got completely different cars. Let's face it, with different engine, sizes, amounts of cylinders, positions in the car. You've got obviously the Porsche with it in the boot. You've got the BMW, the Merc, with it obviously out in front of you. You've got the Lamborghini, Ferrari, and the Audi, where it sits obviously mid-engine just behind the driver. And they're all able to compete on a relatively even playing field. Yes, certain tracks do suit certain cars better than others, but it's just absolutely fantastic to see. Just before we crack on with our ramblings, Rusty Racing coming in with the 5 gifted tier 1 subs over on Twitch. Thank you very much for that one.
That's amazing. Thank you very much.
That's a lovely one. Obviously, if you're watching us over on Twitch, don't forget to follow us on there, or you can, if you'd like to, you can subscribe to the iRacing UK Twitch channel as well. That's gladly received. Obviously, if you're watching us over on YouTube, don't forget to hit the like button and also the subscribe button. That way, obviously, you'll receive up-to-date notifications of when we go live on all of our broadcasts here for iRacing UK. So yeah, I've just been joined in earlier, obviously, while the race was ongoing, Ian, and just having a bit of a look. We've got Porsche, obviously, naturally out the front, but then, like we were saying earlier, so many of our strong drivers adopting said car. Obviously, we've got usual Jonathan Hitchin, making a nuisance of himself, slap bang in the middle of amongst a load of Porsches within his Ferrari. But Nathan Willoughby, we saw an absolutely brilliant drive from him last time out at Long Beach, putting on an absolute defensive driving masterclass. Positioned the car absolutely perfectly for lap after lap, and kept so many people at bay after he saw great success during the official.
I didn't manage to catch last week's race because I was otherwise engaged. But was it the crash fest that I anticipated it might be?
No,
no, that is really excellent news.
It is, and it just sort of shows the quality of the driving we have within the league. And if you are interested, obviously, if you've caught any of our broadcasts previously for the GT3 leagues on Sunday nights, or if you're looking at joining one of our other leagues, or just the community in general, you can head across to our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/iRacingUK, where you can drop us a message on there and look to get involved. We'll send you across an invite, and we would love to have you. So that's a brilliant community. And
catching up on a bit of the results what you're saying from this weekend, Le Mans. It seems as though in the LMP2 class, after 24 hours of waiting, first and second position was separated by 0.7 second.
It was second and
What,
third in the
second
end.
and third? Apologies. What
It,
goes on there? How does that happen?
so, but obviously, as you can imagine,
That's
it's
incredible.
happened in the past. You come well about 4 years ago with Toyota, where they broke down on the last lap. Well, the lead LMP2 of WRT, who it was their first outing at Le Mans in LMP2, and they absolutely they led most of the race, and the car broke down coming into turn one. They had to stop the car, a bit of a control alt delete, but they lost massive amounts of time, and literally it just came down to the start finish line. So it's well worth going to have a bit of a look. You'll find it clips, I'm sure, all over Reddit, Twitter, YouTube, etc. And literally the guy waving the flag on, who's quite a bit of a shock this day and age, who's literally
standing in the middle of a track.
He stood in the middle of the track, raving the flags as everyone normally just rolls gently across the start-finish line. Meanwhile, the two LMP2s absolutely scrabbling like mad. After 24 hours, now only under a second apart, and nearly wiped the poor bloke out. He had to take a little bit of evasive action. But yeah,
I mean, I'm not sure about. Even so, I wouldn't stand on the track when cars. I mean, what are they going to be doing at that point? They're probably 100, 120.
No, they said obviously the start finish line at Le Mans is literally just past the last corner, and of course,
yeah, but these things accelerate hard, man. They're powerful cars, these LMP2s. So,
well, even the GTEs, which obviously are a slight upgrade from obviously the GT3s that you'll see tonight. As we just got qualifying started, as people start on their flying laps, we'll catch up with them. And yeah, they're no slouches themselves, but obviously when you put them next to the LMP2s and the new LMHs, the Le Mans hypercars, wow, yeah, they do look somewhat pedestrian at times, which just shows the absolute power of the LMP2s and the new hypercars as well. That's going to be a really interesting format.
It all comes down to body weight, doesn't it, really, at the end of the day? Because like the GTEs are effectively using a production car, kind of. I mean, it's been stripped out and caged.
Yes.
But the
they've got a bit more aero as well compared to the GT3s as well. You don't have as many of the assists as well that you have there. They're more race cars rather than converted supercars, as it would be.
Yeah.
But we'll. I'm sure be interesting as all. We've got drivers setting times there. We did have very briefly. Chris Edford did hold the fastest time, but he's instantly knocked down the field by Gavilli, Roberts, Tennant, Austin William Campbell getting his BMW in the mix there, and as Armstrong replaces him for fourth place. But initially, as we wait,
even so, look at the time of Roberts. It's 3,000 slower than Gavilli. I mean, this is going to be close racing.
We've seen it so much all season where there's literally been nothing between the drivers when it comes down to qualifying, where there's literally absolutely minute amounts of time between them. So in terms of the format tonight, obviously the drivers have the tracks to themselves. They have 4 flying laps to try and get in their best possible time. And wow, they're currently already some of the drivers already onto their second lap. Some of them yet to take to the track. We've got as usual a nice healthy field out for the race tonight. There's 35 drivers currently waiting to see where they finish within the next around about 11 minutes we've got left of qualifying for them to set times during these 4 laps. And I'm sure there'll be some who will be overjoyed and really happy with the results, and some who will feel that they've left a little bit maybe out on the track or not had the best amount of time.
I think there'll probably be a few. There were a few incidents in that last race. I don't know if you caught one or two of them. I think there'll be
obviously it cost him dearly. Really, I really feel for him. He dropped down. Obviously,
definitely some protests going on. And Roberts has taken the fastest lap by the looks of it. Just 3/10 faster than Gavilli.
We saw it last season. I say last year, it feels so long ago now, but yeah, it was only a few months ago. Last season, we saw Tom Roberts. He was up there, despite being he was in Pro-Am, as opposed to pro. And he was up there mixing it with the pros week in, week out. It was absolutely electric. And good to see him up in the new elite class for this season.
Yeah, actually, he well earned himself a promotion there into the top flight there, I think, didn't he?
We did, yes, he did indeed. You can see as well, another one worth mentioning is we've got Damien Lebet and Tom Tennant, who are, although they're classified as the rookie class, that's obviously because they're brand new to the championship, so they'll enter in at that level. But from the performances we've seen from those guys this season, I think they're definitely going to be knocking on the door, if not cementing himself into that elite class. And another one as well mentioned is Cy Anthony. We've seen absolutely great performances from him this season after coming up through the ranks after last season.
Can you explain to the viewers the progression for rookies? So if a rookie is demonstrating such good times as you say those two just have, do they leap straight into the elite division, or do they have to move up through the divisions themselves?
So there is the team at iRacing UK work absolutely tirelessly and look at everybody's data within iRacing so based on previous race results, and they've got an absolutely fabulous metric, which, you know, bar maybe a couple of anomalies, maybe works 99.9% of the time. It's absolutely brilliant, and makes the classification of the cars as to where they're situated within the different categories, whether it be elite, pro, or
So
rookie.
it is possible for a rookie to jump straight into elite if they put in an absolutely stellar performance in the first season.
If they've got a 5,000 I rating, which if you're new to iRacing, or maybe you're looking in, dipping your toes in as to whether to get involved, your I rating is effectively your driver skill rating, as it were. So that's based on your results. Obviously, the higher up you finish, you get more I rating gains for a win. So 5,000 is a really, really strong driver, and there's a fair few of them about. It's there's not too many around within our league. However, so you'll see them elevated up into the higher divisions. If someone's winning a lot, because the last thing you want is if they're slotted into for instance, is to have someone who's absolutely wiping the floor of you and is completely out of position. So we've got not long left. Sorry, we're about halfway through qualifying now. So you've still got Dom Roberts on provisional pole. He's got Gravili with just behind him, sharing the front row of the grid currently. Only 2 tenths, well, just under 2 tenths, separating those two guys. We've got Busby and Tennant providing that Porsche. Well, it's all the way down to 5th place, because we've also got Lebet as well. Tim Darracott, the first of the non-Porsche runners, in 6th place with a 131.254. But I mean, if you look, Ian, it's literally fine margins. Hundredths of a second can jump you from literally Jonathan Hitchin, who's in 7th place. If he was half a tenth, so 500ths of a second quicker, it would elevate him up to 4th place.
Yeah,
Such are the fine margins here in the league.
It's brilliant though.
Austin William Campbell and David Lawson as well. There, as you can see on screen there, David Lawson is infamous Ghostbuster liveried cars. There's literally a 100th of a second separating those two guys, as Ben Cullen just slots in a 131.596 to elevate himself up to 12th and demote Lawson and Campbell down 1 place. So it's everything to play for. At least the slightest mistake could cost you so dearly in this league.
Absolutely, and there's still like 6 minutes left, 5.5 minutes left.
There is. I'm just going to have a quick look in terms of a lot of our drivers. They've completed their allotted amount of laps. We've still got to keep an eye out for. Bradley Hulse, Keith McKenna is only just headed out onto the track, so he's going to be one to keep a little bit of an eye on as well, because we've seen great things from Kiefer all season. So it'd be good to see how he gets on as well.
But it's interesting, Tim. We were saying about in the this initial race, there was the top 4 were 4 different manufacturers. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are all in the Porsches. So, and with the 2 Mercedes coming up next. So, but there's still 5 minutes left, 4.5 minutes rather, of qualifying. So we might see some inroads into that Porsche lockout of the top 5.
I'm sure. The thing is, like, who can set a time good enough to get themselves up into it? Really, I think that's the key question. Really, you've got here, Ian. You know, who's going to be able to break their way? And for me, it's realistically probably Keith McKenna looks like the only one who could do. But then he's
what do you think's at play here, Tim? Do you think it's all the best drivers have suddenly gone into Porsches, or the Porsches are genuinely a better drive at the moment because they're new to iRacing?
It's so hard to say, really. It's because you've got, obviously, like we were saying, earlier in the show, it's a new toy. Of course, when there's something new and exciting to play with, you'll see people naturally flock across to it, and it's. But then equally, the Porsche is a strong car. It defines that you need a certain driving style to be able to use it.
Well, it kind of mirrors real life as well, a little bit as well, because when the Porsche arrived on the GT3 scene, they just started to make massive inroads, didn't they? I mean, like, they kind of, all the other manufacturers had to kind of sit up and take notice a little bit. It's like, oh, there's a new kid on the block here. What are they doing?
Oh, yes, completely. And it's, I mean, Porsche have been around sports cars for a very long time.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to imply that Porsche were a new mark, obviously, but they're new to GT3, aren't they? In the last couple of years, and
GT. Well, obviously within iRacing, they're new. They've been around GT3s themselves for quite a number of years, and it's almost a little bit surprising, really, that we haven't seen the Porsche 911 in iRacing before. Such is the long history that Porsche have with sports cars. Obviously, I know it took a little while to get the license through, hence why they have the RUFs or RUS, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Which is
rough. I always said rough. Me.
I have as well. I think
it's probably wrong, but
it is. I'm sure we're butchering it as always, as we love to do. So
maybe we stay with German accent.
Well, yeah, Roof.
Roof.
So it's you could. I've slightly losing the plot here. Not that it takes me much to do anyway.
Sorry, I'm distracting you. You're actually saying something meaningful while I'm talking foul.
It's. I think. Oh, as we mentioned, Keith McKenna. Look at that.
That was brilliant. There we go.
The second row of the grid in third place of 130.9.
2 minutes left to go. It looks like everyone has pretty much finished their qualifying.
Got Darracott I think he's the last driver left, and let's see what he can do. Can he do something magical?
Matt Bombshell, I'm going to have to take a quick break before the race starts proper, because we've got a formation lap coming up, I believe. So I think I've got a bit of time.
A little bit of warm up yet. It gives you a chance to refresh yourself. So let's see where Tim Darracott in his Mercedes. We've seen absolutely brilliant things from Darracott this season. He's been one of our most improved drivers, and he's been fighting at the front and really taking it to the Porsches. He runs close to the wall as possible, but that is not is enough to improve from Darracott in terms of his time, but it's not enough to take him up the standings, and he currently stands as the fastest non-Porsche within the qualifying right now. And I'm just having a little look down the list, and I don't think there's anyone now left. No, that is it. We're just, I think that we're pretty much there in terms of qualifiers. I think it's literally Colin Wynn is the only driver who has yet to set a time in his Ferrari. So we're just going to need to wait for the session to click over time, where it's only a few seconds, and then the drivers will take to the track for a quick blast for their warm-up session, and then we will head out into the race. just having a quick look across to the chat, we've got IRUK Coxey. Even all good luck to the drivers. Yeah, definitely. We saw absolutely brilliant racing last time out here last season at Interlagos. In both the races, obviously we had split categories last season, and we saw both races were absolutely entertaining. I'll still never forget one of my standout moments from last season has to be the Lawson Hitchin Green battle, which went all the way down and to the down Ressa Aposta to Desida del Lago, and they all came together as Green was coming out of the pits, and they were battling hard over the same bit of tarmac. But up until then, they were having an absolute epic battle, and it was just drama all the way. I remember that day as well, Murray Luca putting in some absolutely stunning performance. He was back, he was over in a Ferrari. He's made the migration across to Mercedes for this season. And I know Murray's, I think, probably by his self-own admission, I think we probably expected slightly better things this season from Luca. He's a very strong driver. Personally, I took part with him during the Nürburgring 24 hours in the Audi TCR, and we had an absolutely brilliant time. If you've never taken part in endurance racing, thoroughly recommend it. I see who we've got in the chat. Newbleton saying too many Coxes. Obviously, we've got Matt Cox, obviously one of the main guys within the UK community in terms of admins. Obviously, myself, Tim Cox. So yes, there's Cox everywhere. And then we've got Ben Cullen Green. Thank you for that, and thank you very much for that too. Obviously, Newbleton being Chris Rowland's one of our commentary team over here at Total Sim Sport Broadcasts. So yes, he's normally giving me a few jobs, so he'll pay for that later. 306 Rally, which is David Lawson. He's off for a nervous moment on the toilet, and just before the race, you have only got 2.5 minutes, just over 2.5 minutes left, David. So needs to get a bit of a wriggle on with that one. Just having a look across at the YouTube chat. We've got Wardy17. He was spying for Seb Stenning during the last race. Got that slight instant. Lucky at that one. We've seen Seb join the commentary team for the Radical League, and absolute pleasure to have you, Seb, on board, and looking forward to working with yourself some more as well. Absolute pleasure on Thursday, and absolutely great race as well we saw for the Radical League. Alton Park, and despite the small field, by golly, it was not short of entertainment. We had plenty of the commentary team taking part. We had James Parfitt, Chris Rowlands, and Nick Allen all taking part, and Nick was very unlucky not to take the win after absolutely brilliant battle he was having with Dan Saddington out front.
It's pretty impressive, really, because the Radicals are kind of hard to drive. If you give them a squirt too quickly when everything's cold, then yeah, it all goes wrong, really.
It does, but then I think that's the nature of the beast. They're almost like a mini prototype, you know, like a baby prototype, as it were. So your entry into the prototype area, as the same way as obviously you've got GT4s are to GT3s, and yeah, it's definitely interesting. But I think for me as well, what's interesting is obviously now we've I think that's Darracott there, just taking a little bit of a sideways action. You know, why go straight on the track, Darracott, when you can go sideways? A little bit of a drift, but it doesn't matter because it's obviously only the warm-up. But yeah, Jonathan Hitchin in his Ferrari is first with the fastest time, and then we've got obviously Darracott, Mercedes, Bebb and Ellisford in the BMWs, and then we've got Roberts being the first of the Porsches. Ian, do you think I'm reading too much into this?
What's that? Sorry, Tim.
Obviously, there's no Porsches really at the front right now. I know it's only the warm-up, so they're all just having a bit of a, you know, not taking serious-ish, but you know, the pressure is off. Obviously, with only literally a few seconds before the drivers will take to the grid, we can see a lot of them all. There we go, all filing, a few of them filing into the pit lane. Some of them just trying to round out their times as Jonathan Hitchin goes faster again.
I think they're probably all just strapping themselves into their bucket seats, feeling really smug and just not needing a warm up.
Yeah, well, yeah, getting the straps on. We're all ready. We saw, but much I say about Jonathan Hitchin in the Ferrari. We saw an absolute masterclass of overtaking and recovery drives from him 2 rounds ago at Imola. And I think he's definitely, as always, he will be one to watch out for. We'll just we'll run you through the grid. So we've got Roberts and Gravelli on the front row. McKenna after that brilliant time right at the death of qualifying them, but with Busby, Tennant and Labette are the top 6, all Porsche lockout for the first 3 rows. Then we've got Darracott and Armstrong, 2 Mercedes, Hitchin, Willoughby, Anthony and Bebb are the 11th and 12th, and 6th row of the grid. We've got Ben Cullen for his BMW M4 with David Lawson, Austin William Campbell and Dan Gosling, Xander Hill, Stuart Bickley in 18th. We've got Chris Ellisford 19th, Dan Taylor 20th, Lee Green, Bradley Hulse in 21st, 22nd, Chris Hitchin and Gary Bacon in 23rd and 24th. Then we've got Josh Pratt, Murray Luca, Rob Armstrong and Tom Farrell in 27th, 28th. Then we've got Neil Smith, who's really improving this season in 29th. Steve Hughes is 30th. Gary Truby 31st. Ant Franklin making the switch across from McLaren to Mercedes this season in 32nd. Damien G, Trevor Davis in the BMW, and then Colin Quinn, who did not set a time, and I do not think has taken to the grid. So it looks like Trevor will be, Davis will be round up the field in the BMW as we get ready to go. And we're just currently heading across to start finish. Cars, sorry, no, not quite there. Drivers are just heading off now. Around this parade lap, the calm before the storm. So they start to build up the crescendo. Obviously, the Porsche 911 safety car there, just controlling the pace, and the Porsches as well for the first three rows of the grid. Look at that, an absolute Porsche lockout there, sea of Porsches. And then obviously, we've got then Mercedes providing a barrier between the Porsches and the rest of the field. We've got Darracott and Armstrong in 7th and 8th, 4th row of the grid. Just coming round the last couple of corners of subdivided boxes. And then the Porsche safety car will head in to the pit lane, which is quite an interesting pit lane because obviously it takes the entrance to it is right on the racing line here in Interlagos. So we'll might catch 1 or 2 drivers out, but we'll get ready. Is the safety car, there we go, it's pulled in and we're getting ready to go racing. And 1, 2, GT3 at Interlagos for round 5 iRacing UK is go. And out Dom Roberts, what a start. But Kiefer McGenna and Gravelli, oh, we've got Hitchin hitting the wall on the inside there. It's called a little bit of a Constantino effect, but it looks like everybody's making it through. We've got a BMW sideways there. I'm not sure who that was in the background. We'll see if, I think, was that Charlie Bebb possibly there? But other than that, I think everyone else has managed to get relatively cleanly through. I think Truby's had an accident as well. We'll come back. Oh, there's a bit of the Mercedes in the background there, heading straight to the inside. I think it was that Ant Franklin. Not sure if he had a technical problem there, but just speared left into the inside of the wall. We're going to hit to a replay. So he's coming around turn 2 here and drove it into the wall. How bizarre. So whether he's had a technical issue there from Franklin, I'm not sure, but wow, a bit of a bizarre one there. But back to the sharp end of the grid, and wow, we've got absolutely drivers everywhere. We've got Hulse in the Porsche there, that fluorescent yellow, pink and green Porsche. We've got the Mercedes of Danny Gosling, who in the right on the inside of him, but he's going to be on the outside as they head down round Mugello down to Juncal for the second time. The first flying lap, as it were. And now Gosling is right in the correct position. He's tucked up behind him, and he's going to look to make them overtake. But Dom Roberts he's heading off into the distance. He's currently first place with McKenna, Busby, Gravelli dropped down 2 places to 4th. I'll be disappointed with that one. We've got Stuart Bickley, and he's in a bit of a tussle there with Chris Edford. As yes, Chris Edford's behind him, and he's got Ben Cullen ahead of him. The Mercedes in a BMW sandwich, and they're tightly locked away. But out front, 6 Porsches have now become 5 as we've had Lebet. He's lost a couple of places there off the start. Darracott and Hitchin managed to promote themselves, but Nathan Willoughby in that McLaren. He's got David Larson right behind him, that Ghostbusters livery Ferrari, keeping him company and keeping him sure. But as there's Hulse, he's gone for a move up the inside. That's on the lead green in the Chris Hitchin. Sorry, it's Lamborghini. Mixed up obviously with drivers switching allegiances a lot this season. And yeah, that's a promotion for Hulse, so it'll be happy with that one, up to 20th place. But right now, Darracott, the first of the non-Porsche runners, up in 6th place. And look at it, he's absolutely all over the back of Tom Tennant. He's not letting those Porsches escape from him. And he's got Jonathan Hitchin sat right behind them, waiting to pace. Darracott's trying to run it round the outside here. That's a brave move. Can't really do that one there, Tim. It's not the best way to get through, but he's going to maybe look to use the switchback and maybe get a better run off. But Hitchin's saying, no, you're not having the best run off. I am. Darracott's had to go defensive to the inside. He's going to have to cover that one off. Let's see whether Hitchin, he's forced him even more to the inside, which is going to compromise his exit massively. And this is Hitchin's chance. He's on the lights. He's flashing Darracott just to try and distract him as we ride on board now in Hitchin's Ferrari. And he's absolutely, this is incredibly close. He tries to send it up the inside of the Mercedes of Darracott there, but there's not enough room there. Darracott just covering it up just enough to prevent Hitchin slotting that Ferrari through. And there's literally hardly anything to separate to us. As we said before the show, we're expecting the drama of Interlagos to happen all over again, and it is not failing to deliver here yet again on the iRacing UK Twitch and YouTube channels. But Alce in front, Dom Roberts, is not all plain sailing for him. He's got Kiefer McKenna right behind him, who last time around set the fastest lap of the race so far. And he's not letting Roberts escape at all. It's Porsche on Porsche for the first 2 places. They come across the start-finish straight. They're heading down to Curva 1 and the Senna S's. Let's see if they've managed to improve on times. They haven't. But McKenna was a 10th quicker than Roberts last time around. He's putting the squeeze on. He's putting the hurry up on. And it's this where I think he's just going to be looking to plot his next move of where he can make that overtake. But further down the field, we've got...
that's incredible racing from Kiefer McKenna. Just to interrupt, he's in the rookie class, and he's only 4/10 behind Dominic Roberts, a leader of the elite class, surrounded by other elites, Paul Busby and Gavilli. And Tom Tennant also up there, along with Tim Darracott. That's just incredible stuff. So hopefully we'll see those in the elite division next season.
Oh, we've got to, Ian. They've got to be. With the performances we've seen, I mean, we saw from McKenna right at the depth of qualifying, sticking that Porsche up on the second row of the grid. It's a 3rd place. Absolutely brilliant. Just got a replay here. I think, is this Bradley Hulse? This is down into the Senna S's. And, ooh, that's... turned in, lost it on entry.
It looks like I think he braked too hard there. He locked up and the back where it kind of went. It looked a little bit. It just lost control for no reason, it seems.
Yeah, it's definitely that way. And the Porsche, obviously, with all the weight in the rear of the car, so easy to do once you lose it. That's it. It's gone. But the BMWs there, Dan Taylor and Austin William Campbell having a good battle previously. But we've got Tim Darracott and Hitchin just chasing down these Porsches, desperate not to let them escape. The last thing they want is them to head up on the road. Just looking in the background, Damien Lebet and Cy Anthony being hassled by the Mercedes of Armstrong. And he's managed to pick one of them off. That's Cy Anthony he's managed to clear there in that red and yellow Porsche. And now he heads off to try and mount the attack on Damien Lebet. And
I'm really digging that skin of Cy Anthony with that dragon fading into the yellow. That's superb. It's like that.
Nice little nod, obviously. Cy's Anthony is Welsh, so
that Merc almost nearly goes a little bit wide there. Sorry, the Porsche nearly. perch needs to get a little bit wide there in those two corners. Sorry, Tim, interrupt.
That's all right. We've got we've got battles absolutely up and down all over the field. It's a question, where do you look right now? But we've got the battle.
A little bit of a nudge there.
Oh, as Darracot's trying to run it round the outside there of Pinorino, and they're all over the ups each other, and through that all, I think Darracot maybe, just maybe, as they head down to John Cowell now, he's got it ahead. But now, and that Porsche there of Gravelli is looking very, very vulnerable. He's got Jonathan Hitchens' Ferrari right behind him. He's going to be tucked up behind his rear wing now as they head down to the Senna S's for the fifth time. I think the Ferrari incredibly strong in the straight line, and Hitchen will be looking to utilise it. He's already up 2 places so far tonight. Come hard onto the brakes. Need to be careful, obviously, not to take too much, otherwise you compromise your exit off the second part of the Senna S's. Then it's this long sweeping curve of the Sol round to the left. You've got the pit exit just to your left-hand side, and that's the long run down Reta Aposta down to Decido del Lago. Hitching these.
The Decido del Lago always catches me out, particularly in the skip when I was racing this. Is like you think, oh, I can go a little bit wider here. No. I'm too wide. I've lost the line for the second curve, and you're 3 positions back all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's such a deceiving corner for me. It feels like you should be able to take it way quicker than what you really can. But
I mentioned earlier the other deceiving corner was turn 11 is Mergulo. It's like you think it's a big wide corner, and you're heading out of Vico de Pato. You're hammering it, and you really need to brake harder than you think.
Yeah, if you get your line wrong, you have to get out of the power, and it just compromises you so much. And talking of taking lines, Cy Anthony in that Porsche is cooking up right behind Armstrong. And although Armstrong managed to get past him at the start of the lap, Anthony's not letting him go. Not at all, and just keeping a little eye on what's happening slightly ahead of them. We've got McKenna still tucked right up behind Dom Roberts. The Porsche is battling for the first 2 steps of the podium. Only 2 temps separating these guys. And we've got Busby down in 3rd place and sort of in a little bubble of his own. But I think he'll be hoping for these 2 to keep battling, and maybe he can pick up some scraps here tonight.
I don't know if you saw that Porsche Dom Roberts as he's coming to the Senna S's. It looked like the back end slid ever so. It was under control, but it looked like it slid wide a little tiny fraction. And I wonder if Dom Roberts is trying a little bit too hard to stay ahead of Kiefer.
We've got Ben Cullen here just getting the move done on Nathan Willoughby. Willoughby, the only McLaren driver in the league this season. But boy, has he been doing it some justice. But he's now under a bit of pressure from Lawson, who's now tucking right up behind him. And these 2 BMWs who've got, they're absolutely harassing Xander Hill. But also they've got Stuart Bickley in front of them in that luminescent Merc, who seems to be holding them up and creating a little bit of a train right now, just Bickley. And not able to quite find their way past yet, Ian, I don't think. But talking of trying to find the way past, we've got Darracot. He's scrambling all over the back of Tennant. We've got Hitchin all scrambling all over the back of Gravelli. It's just battles absolutely everywhere whenever you look up and down the field.
I think particularly with this course, you have to be really patient. You saw a lot of drivers with patience, like Seb Senning. He was patient a lot of the race, and then managed to actually take the position of Hooper in the second third of the course.
Talking to me patient.
No, that's
oh
my goodness!
That's
oh my goodness! No,
no,
contact. And there's another car. Bang! Oh my goodness! The Senna S is playing 3 more victims.
We've got
Here we go.
replay. Let's have a look. So Hitchin
goes a little bit wide.
Obviously came side by side with Veely, and that's what forced them wide. They got a whack of Damien Lambert coming through. I don't know whether he's going to take any damage to his car. Oh no, that's Hitchin back to the pits as there was just side by side, and Gravelli just got out onto the grass, and then, as we all know, once you get onto the grass on iRacing, you become a passenger, and it's so slippery, and it's
it's
squirrely
all of a sudden you're driving on the Arctic tundra.
And it looks like Gavilia is carrying a damaged car. He's headed to the pits, so I think that's race over potentially for him and Hitchin tonight. They're going to be tumbling right down the order there, all the way back down with Beb, who had that incident earlier on, likewise with Holmes, and they're going to be a lap down, unfortunately. It's such a shame. We've seen great racing from those guys.
It's a bold colour scheme there from Damien Lebet. There's some kind of Japanese motif, maybe. Didn't really recognise the character on the bonnet. Here we go, Dominic Roberts is right behind. He's really trying to defend from Kiefer. Kiefer is not giving up. There as they come round Cueva del Sol onto the long straight of Rito Aposta. And it's all in the late braking here for Decida del Lago on that double corner, double left-hander. And Kiefer is 2 tenths behind him. They both take a very similar line. It looks like Roberts took a slightly wider one. He wanted a better exit. And has that given him actually any extra time on the next straight? No, it hasn't. Kiefer has still managed to make up 300ths.
If you look, just looking at the lap times last time around, only 2/100ths of a second to separate these guys. They're absolutely pushing each other along. And I think where this could be decided, we've got 22 laps to go. With the pit window isn't open yet, but Rob Armstrong somewhere off camera has had a bit of an incident. We'll see if we can take a look, see what happens to him. And here we go, just heading down to the Decida del Lago. Going to lose it under braking that Mercedes.
That's a big off. That's really late braking. Goodness me, from Rob Armstrong.
He's now going to wait for the stream of cars to come past him. That's cost him dearly there, and shame for Armstrong. And
it's a good point there, actually, Tim, because if you go off, you're not losing that couple of seconds. You have to be patient and wait for the cars to come past before you can rejoin. Otherwise, you risk ruining maybe 3 or 4 or 5 other people's races.
But just looking at this battle right now, we've got currently riding on board with Ben Cullen in the BMW 4 Series, and he's caught right up to the back of this little train in front of him. It's Armstrong's Mercedes, and he's got Lebet just in front of him in 7th place, and 6th place Anthony, and they've it's absolutely brilliant driving from Cullen, who was tucked up behind Willoughby, but it looks like he's also dragged Willoughby and Lawson along for the ride with him, and they've closed right onto the back, and all of a sudden Anthony is forming, and
Lebet go really wide there, and I think he probably lost him maybe a lot of time there with Armstrong. Was it Armstrong that lost that went a little bit wide in the Merc? Yeah, in that black Merc.
It was.
He went super wide. He's gone super wide again. He's still not settled. There's something going on with him. He's not feeling comfortable right now, and Ben Cullen is looking like he wants to properly take advantage of that.
GT does not look happy right now. It looks like Armstrong's more wrestling it round rather than driving it round. That's probably I would say in part that's what's allowed Cullen to catch up to the back of them. But equally, while he's been wrestling that car around, he's missing the apexes by quite a bit, especially by Armstrong standards. Equally, the Porsches in front of him haven't been able to escape. I'm just wondering whether, from sitting behind the Porsches, it's maybe he's running his brakes a bit hotter and needs to get past them and get out in some clear air, and maybe he's just cooked his tyres a little bit where he's just pushing it so hard. It's a bit hard to tell, but meanwhile out front we've got McKenna and Roberts, who just can't leave each other alone, these two. 2 tenths is all it has been from the very start of this race, 10 laps ago. They've got 20 to go. Do you think they can maintain 2 tenths for the rest of this race?
That would be amazing, wouldn't it? I mean, the concentration would be insane, particularly around this sticky part. I mean, sticky part of the middle circuit. And here we're back with Ben Cullen, who's right all over the back of James Armstrong. And you're right, James Armstrong, he's basically forcing the Mercedes around the circuit. He's not dancing it, he's forcing it around. He's really pulling in. It's a big, heavy front-engine car. I mean, the BM2, but it's looking like maybe the setup's a little bit wrong. And it looks like there's a Porsche gone off the front.
That's Cy Anthony in the Porsche. He's come off.
We had a grandstand seat to that on riding on board with Ben Cullen.
We did. Let's have a look. He's caught the grass.
He's just overcooked it there a little bit coming out of the corner. He's maybe... Oh, bang. That's a bad damage. Look at that.
A little bit of a wheel onto the grass. And that is now released Labette, and let's see what they can do and whether he can try and pull away right now. But so we ride on board with Roberts in the 911, and he's coming round the centre S's.
There's now a 4/10 gap between them, Tim. So keep it slowed down.
Yes, yeah. It's the biggest gap we've seen from them so far. But he's closed it right back
saving, maybe.
Yeah, just trying to. I think this is possibly the only way that these two are going to separate these two guys is through the pit stops. Maybe it's a bit of strategy. Who is going to blink first? Who's going to try and come in and maybe take on some fresh rubber and have an absolutely epic outlap? And just
do you think they'll take tyres though? I mean, that could be the deciding factor. So the additional length of time it will take to chuck another 4 wheels on, versus I'm just going to nurse my rubber around and take a faster pit stop and get the time in front.
Well, that is very true. Do you nurse them? It's the risk versus reward, isn't it? It's that little matrix.
Same old story.
What do you do, if you're McKenna or if you're Roberts? I don't know, but I'm sure that's going to be going through the head as Armstrong exploring all of the track and some more there as he runs a little bit wide. But this is the closest McKenna's been down into Citadel, down to Senna S's. But equally, he just can't seem to. He gets to within a 10th, and he just can't seem to find that extra little bit to get past him, get past Roberts in front of him. And I think what's going to come down to, it's either going to be pit stops or a mistake from one of these two guys that's going to decide and define the outcome of this race.
I'm nowhere near the driver that McKenna is, but if I had a bit more racecraft about me, I'd probably just set off a second and sit behind Roberts and wait for a mistake.
So here
we go.
Armstrong, he's on the attack of Labette there. That coming down into Citadel as they head up round Fedura, and now
carried a little bit too much speed in and kind of went wide again and allowed Ben to catch up.
Yeah, you've got Cullen looming behind him in that white and green Mercedes, and just absolutely all over the back of him, looking to capitalise. But talking of BMWs and looking to capitalise, we've got the red Demon Tweaks BMW M4 of Dan Taylor. Oh, he's having to go defensive.
There's a hard defence there.
Was across the front end of the track. Yellow Porsche there. This is the tricky thing, isn't it? When you're the middle car out of a 3-car battle, yes, you're looking to get past the car in front of you, but equally you need to be looking at the car behind you, and you can either lose or gain massively and very, very quickly.
Kenner's now very close. You can basically read the manufacturer of the bonnet on the boot. I think
any closer, and he may as well just be one of the mechanics, making some tweaks to the engine while it's running along. Roberts' Porsche in front of him.
He's going to be able to see what Roberts ate for lunch soon.
This is absolutely epic driving from these two. They have been 2 tenths separating these two drivers now for the last 13.5 laps. As Cullen, he's on the attack now. Armstrong going left. He's gone right back to the right again, all over the track.
Cullen's got the inside line there and just managed to basically defend his position as they come into Decido del Lago. And but it's like
that
Armstrong is not giving up, but he's trying to go around the outside. But Cullen's got the inside line again, and
no, he's going to have this.
Cullen went a little bit wide, and we're now on board with Willoughby as a grandstand seat for that battle in front. And Willoughby's also looking to challenge Armstrong, maybe capitalise on an Armstrong mistake, as he's trying to really hassle Cullen.
But then Ian, equally looming right behind all these guys, we've got Lawson in the Ferrari, as that Mercedes of Armstrong does not look happy tonight. It's been all over the track. It's been squirreling under acceleration. And I'm amazed that Armstrong is doing as well as he is with it, because he just looks so unhappy, that car tonight. And it's like I said earlier in the race, it's like he's wrestling the thing around. Busby's the first driver to blink. He's headed to the pit lane. He's the first driver in. And
we're about halfway through the race, so the pit lane is now open.
He was sitting in a nice little bubble of himself. He's come into the pits from third, Where's this going to? We'll see where this is going to bring
You're
him
right. He's got
out.
6 seconds, 7, 8,
I
9,
think he's
10.
going to come. I'd imagine he'll come somewhere around the Mercedes of Neil Smith, Murray Luca, and Arms.
Here he comes.
Armstrong
He's just
possibly.
taking fuel. He's not bothered with cars, so he's going to nurse. He's going to nurse his rubber.
There we go. He's got.
Did someone go off in the back of there as we were following Paul? Okay, no, it's good.
No,
Paul's just going to edge in front of Gary Bacon there, and he's got a lot of position to make up, but then everyone still needs to pit. So Paul is now going to rely on that pit strategy of pitting early with enough fuel, and basically he's going to look to conserve his tyres all the way around and hopefully make his way back up to the top 5.
So we've got IR UK Coxie saying in the Twitch chat, brave tactics there. Is it though? You know, he was running in a nice little bubble. It is an early stop, and he was the.
You're right about Armstrong, because he's still there was a little wiggle as he came around that corner. You know, as he came around Meguro into Junsao, and so there's something wrong with the setup of that Merc. I wonder whether he's just tried to go for less downforce to try and get a bit of a straight run on the long 13, 14, 15 straights, maybe. And he's maybe overdone it.
It could well be. It just looks so unsettled. And look, Cullen is, he's gone away from him, and now he's absolutely harassing the back of Lebet's Porsche. There's a real, visible difference that Cullen has been able to put up between him, self and Armstrong. As we're currently right on board with Armstrong right now, you can see Cullen's BMW ahead of them. As Lebet all getting very twitchy under acceleration, this could be Cullen's chance. He's going to have the hard work to do. That's not a traditional passing place there as they head up.
Going to go around the outside, maintain a bigger radius.
Oh, Ben Cullen, you can't overtake that. That's not where it's allowed, but he's going to give it a goddamn good go. And that's now, if he can stay alongside.
Inside.
Oh, Ben Cullen, this is absolutely
amazing driving. That's fantastic.
Driving from Cullen there.
He managed to maintain that speed around the outside. That is superb driving, allowing Armstrong to catch up with the whole train of them now. But there's now 3, 4, 5, 6 cars in that road. Goodness me. And Cullen, I think, will now look to extend his lead as he comes around Junsao and hopefully exit well and hammer his way up through 13, 14, 15.
I'm loving that move. You're loving that move. The chat is loving that move as well. We've got, Michael Jones saying, what a move. Nibelson saying, Benjamin Mural Cullen, highlight reel, definitely. Even Ben doing his traditional thing, which I don't know how he does, Ben Cullen, where he can drive so quickly and still type in the chat of a stream as well. A multi-talented man. He's one of our service men and women who look after us, works in the RAF, and doing us proud and himself proud on all fronts tonight. And I think this, like you're saying, I think this could well be Cullen going off into the distance now. He's clearly got the pace. So we've got at the end of lap 16, we've got 14 to go of the 30 laps of Interlagos tonight, as that's Busby coming back through the field after his earlier pit stop. We've got Dan Taylor as well, who's headed to the pits. He's another driver who's taken a stop, but Busby taking it incredibly early there, and he doesn't look to have picked up too much traffic. Cullen getting maybe a little bit, he's up 8 places already, getting a little bit maybe a bad exit there, and Lebet just allowing Lebet to close up to him a little bit closer. And I think this, don't know about yourself, Ian, but I'm struggling to see how Lebet, with the way Cullen is driving tonight, I can struggle to see any of the drivers trying to mountain challenge and get past him tonight.
This is true. I mean, but having said that, he's got a long way to go before he catches up with Tim Darracott. I mean, there's what 7 seconds behind him. No.
We've hardly mentioned Darracott and Tennant. They've just sort of like cleared off into the distance.
Lebet is just retaking the lead. Oh no, but then there's just the old switcheroo. Cullen held his nerve as he comes through the Sunhouses.
This is Cullen's chance to get away. But let's look at the battle behind them. As Lebet's gone incredibly defensive. He's got the Mercedes of Armstrong tucked up right behind his wing. right behind them, and Armstrong just not able to capitalise. But Willoughby looks like he's mounting a move down into the Ciudad del Lago, but he's not able to quite pull it off. And the grunt and talk of that Mercedes just pulling away, but Armstrong seems to be really struggling there. Yeah,
there was great defence from Lebet there. He was very positive in his I am here. This is my track.
He is. Yeah, he was absolutely brilliant at defending there and really owned the track, like you say. And Edisford, and he's in that red BMW, just currently chasing down the Lamborghini of Hill, ahead of them. Only about 7/10 between these two guys right now. But just looking at it as we watch our leaders cross the start-finish line yet again, that gap still at its standard 2/10 on average.
You know, we were saying about Armstrong really struggling. He's the only one challenging for those first two for best laps. So he's the only one really anywhere close.
Well, you say only close. You've got Darracot's just popped into the 31s there, but yeah, he's. You say that you've got, they're all doing.
See that little squirm? He was really. There's something wrong with his setup. He's not happy, is he? You're right. He's really struggling.
Just it may well be relatively quick, but he's under attack from Willoughby now. It's
just gone really wide. It's going to be an accident.
Well, hopefully not. We haven't seen too many major accidents this season, as Willoughby just hanging that McLaren MP4 around the outside there. He's going to look to do the same move that he watched Ben Cullen pull off, but he's unable to make that happen right now. What's looming behind him in that Ghostbusters Ferrari is Lawson, who will be looking to capitalise with these two battling ahead of them. We've got Lebet, who's just about keeping on to the back of Cullen, and we've seen him prodding and poking and mounting takeover attempts on Cullen. I think Lawson's just got to be hoping and praying right now for someone to make a mistake, and this could completely change his race and elevate. He could pick up a nice, easy couple of places. We've got Pratt and Davis is headed to the pits. We've got Neil Smith's headed in as well, Luca as well. Oh, Lebet, Armstrong, Willoughby, Lawson, they've all tucked into the pits. We can see him just there. This is going to give Cullen a chance now. He's got nobody attacking him. He's got a clean track in front of him, clean track behind him. As Kiefer McKenna just showing his Porsche on the inside of Roberts there. But yeah, with Cullen, he's in a nice little bubble now, and I think this is his time now to really stick in some quali style laps on light fuel, and after pit stops, extend his gap out the front. I want to keep an eye on as well, talking of gaps and pit stops, is Busby. So after he blinked incredibly early, by far the first of our pit stop takers on lap 14. We're currently on lap 19 now.
It's right, he's made his way up to 9th, and no one in the first 8 has taken a pit yet. So there's a real chance to make up some serious positions there.
Somewhere off camera, Xander Hill's had a bit of an incident which has allowed Busby and Edisford past. So Hill had pulled out a bit of a gap there. He was tucked. He had got Edisford right behind him.
There we go. Roberts is coming in right now for a pit. And oh my goodness, no! Xander Hill has just spun. Everyone misses.
Evasive action had to be taken there by Edisford. It cost him a bit of time. That's allowed.
And he loses 2 positions.
Oh, McKenna there. Wow. How close to the pit wall, maximising every last millisecond of slipstream potential there across the pit entrance and exit. But this has now released him. What can he do against Dom Roberts? Dom Roberts is going to come out in traffic, and he's come out. Hold on, he's come out behind Busby. Paul Busby's up into 3rd.
Could have been worked. It could have been worked. And McKenna still, and he's still into 2nd, and McKenna still hasn't come in yet. So I think he must be. He's going to be really worried about his fumes.
Oh, I'm just having a little look now, and I'm not sure whether they've all quite closed the gap up, but Busby has pulled out some brilliant time there. He's put himself up into second place, and Dom Roberts, he took an absolutely massive amount of time in the pits, a 51-second pit stop. In contrast, everyone else, the quickest so far tonight was James Armstrong, the Mercedes, at a 10.8 second. But
I wonder if there was a bit of
around
a
11, 12 second mark.
I wonder if there's a bit of a mix-up there with his crew chief or his pit settings, and he needed a bit of a.
I don't know. We've got McKenna. He's into the pits. Let's keep one eye. Sorry, cross you in.
There we go. He went too fast into the pits, and he had a 40-second penalty. That's really unfortunate.
Oh no, that's going to cost him so dearly. We've seen absolutely brilliant battles, and we said it was going to be, you know, fine margins that defined the battle at the front. And where is Busby? He's just coming past the pit entry. McKenna's heading onto the pit exit. I think that's going to be McKenna ahead. Yeah, there we go. He's coming out of the pit exit past the Senna S's. Just keep one eye in the background for that pastel blue Porsche of Busby. And no, that's McKenna well up the road. There you go. You can see pretty much the length of Retta Aposta between them, those two drivers right now. But Busby has reeled in McKenna a bit.
I think there's a 9-second gap. No, sorry, apologies, 7-second gap. So that's a lot to make up in 9 laps in this circuit.
Talking about making up a lot of time as well. Ben Cullen, he's closed right up to the back of Tim Darracott as well. Oh no, he's not. Sorry, I lied. They're a little bit further ahead. It was just it was like a blip in my timing screen there. But yeah, he's not really been able to escape from the clutches of Labette in that Porsche, really.
Dominic Roberts is now running in 14th position after his 1 minute 11 pit stop. I wonder what went on there. Maybe he took tyres. I don't think he can make up any kind of time though with the 9 laps that are left. The tyres won't really give you that much advantage, surely.
No,
9 laps.
Not. It will give him maybe a slight edge, but nothing too major, not to make it anywhere near that sort of time. Thank you for the follow over on Twitch from It's Bentley. That's really appreciated.
There was a follow earlier from the from a fellow who watched the our stream at Silverstone.
Yes.
He followed us earlier.
Oh, much appreciated. Also we've got GTracer63. Thank you for following us. Just having a quick scoot up, see if I can see. There we go. We've got another one. George53. Thank you for the follow. Lunch Meats at Clover. Thank you for the follows as well earlier, guys. I think I've caught everyone as Dom Roberts. There we go. Where he got caught out with speeding in the pits, but in amongst all that, Lawson's managed to get ahead of Willoughby during the round of pit stops. Absolutely brilliant from Lawson. He's up to 8th place now, and he's not really. He's been harassed by Willoughby. Lawson dubbed himself the most unluckiest man in iRacing. We've seen some brilliant drives from him where it's cost him dear, and taking one little look at Roberts running incredibly wide as he's pushing it, and oh no, it's into the wall.
Goodness, right.
And I think that's going to be steering gun, and just where he was, the frustration of his penalty kicking in there and really pushing that Porsche 911, and it's just that little bit too far, and he's put it onto the grass. But meanwhile, out at front, end of at the start of lap 23, we've got McKenna, Busby, and Tennant. Porsche 1,
Tennant,
2, 3.
another rookie who's really challenging for like he wants to move up to that elite division, and he's really newcomer to the league, and he's really pushing Paul Busby, who's like a stalwart, fast driver. We know he's a fast driver. And,
we've seen great things from him, you know, in GT3s and Porsches. Back marker fry. I think that has Farrell in the background there, just coming out of the pits and round. So yeah, Busby's an incredibly strong driver. We've seen it during season 1. Unfortunately, he was unable really to join us for season 2. So we're running on board with Damien G. And
what on earth happened there? He just
I'm not
decided
too
to
sure.
steer into the I think he probably put the power down too early and just
Again, and
jumped
around
into
it
the
went.
Arco.
And off he goes again. A bit of a strange one there. I'm just having a little bit of a look down the field. We've got the Lee Green, Hitchin, and Bacon battle. Obviously, Green and Hitchin were locked in a battle with Larson last season at Interlagos. Fortunately, Larson a little bit ahead of them tonight, but right now, this little bit of a train we've got forming here. So at the front of it, we've got Xander Hill in the Lamborghini, that red and white Lamborghini there. And then right behind them, we have got Lee Green in that white Ferrari, Hitchin in the Lamborghini, and then Bacon at the back of the train in the Ferrari. And oh no, sorry, I've missed off as well. Stephen Hughes as well, who was took off the back of them. But right down the back, we've got Charlie Bebb, who's really down the field. We saw a brilliant battle between him and Aidan Shadbolt last season at Interlagos. And Bebb, after the first lap incident, unfortunately, right down near the back of the field, costing him dearly tonight. So it's a shame to see him all the way down there, because I'm sure he'd be up here as Cullen runs wide out onto the
The reason why is, do you see, Ben Cullen was defending the inside line there and had to run wide because his speed was probably just too high and he couldn't brake hard enough. But he managed to defend from Lebet there in the rookies, though. To be fair to Lebet, he's challenging Cullen.
Well, Lebet proving he's certainly no rookie and no muggin as he tries to find his way past Cullen. And that Cullen just trying to make that white BMW as white as possible right now. And he's got 6 laps to go. And I'm sure he's trying to sort of almost semi-back it Lebet back into Armstrong in that black Mercedes, who's looming and just trying to make Lebet think twice about maybe heading to the inside and leaving himself vulnerable as Larson's come off the track somewhere. Let's allow Willoughby through. Let's see if we can see what's happened here. Is this going to be where he's going to lose the back end under braking? Maybe. No, Willoughby's gone to the inside. Oh no, we've got contact there.
It looked like David Larison tried to come in too quickly, and Willoughby had the inside line and actually had the racing line, and he just tried to cut across him a little bit too much.
Armstrong's had an incident as well. He's come off track. We've got incidents happening left, right, and centre right now. Let's take a look. This is down into the centre S's, down into turn 1. He said that Mercedes. Oh, he just had to take a action.
He had to brake really late, didn't he? There and like lost all traction on his front, and that was really unfortunate.
Cost him in dear as he pointing the wrong way, and now he's going to be. He's come out behind Lowson and possibly even further. That is the BMW of Dan Taylor there, who's got past him, and
it was a nice rejoin, though. Let's give him that. It was a nice rejoin.
It was. He kept himself clean and away from everywhere, and yeah, I think that this has cost him dearly. He's dropped all the way down to 11th place now for Armstrong, and I think that might be race done for him. Which now is going to make Lebet's life a little bit easier. And I see we've got Jonathan Hitchin joining us in the chat, cheering on his brother. And I think he's referring maybe to the Willoughby Larson accident there. Definitely, like saying, obviously where they made Willoughby made contact with Lowson, and yeah, it's obviously. Sticking together, obviously the Ferrari drivers. One
of those things we'll have to wait the steward's inquiry for that.
Oh, definitely.
Cullen going a little bit wide there on the S's and tried to get a good line back into the Curva del Sol and allowing Darracott to catch up a little bit and maybe draft him coming into the Cida del Lago.
Here we go. Tom Farrell. Let's take a little look what's happened to Tom Farrell and the Ferrari. Caught a little bit too much curb there into Juncal, and around.
A little bit too keen on the power as well. I think it just like the back end was just. Yeah.
It's got Cullen and Lebet just coming past him there. Obviously, he's already a lap down Farrell, and last thing he needed was that spin, unfortunately for him. But Yeah, he's still holding his own though, still ahead of Beb as well in the BMW by about 7 seconds. So he's got himself a nice bit of cushion of space to be able to work in there. So it's not gonna cost him too dearly, that one. As always, he loses it again into the centre S's, and maybe just overcooked those tyres a little bit and running a bit too warm.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think the tyres were a little bit overheated from that spin earlier, and he maybe hadn't waited enough for the rubber to cool down before he gave it a bit more stick.
Talking of warming in, the battle for second place is hotting up between Tennant and Busby. Tennant charging Busby down. Obviously, these two Porsche drivers not giving each other an inch, and Tennant not able to make too much distance up on Busby right now. But we've got Chris Hitchen, who's in the middle of a massive battle as Bacon there in the Ferrari, just showing his nice at the inside of Hitchen's Lamborghini. As Hitch is looking to chase down the other Lamborghini of Xander Hill, who's in front of him, and then Chris Edisford in that red BMW, who forms part of this 6-car train, and that's Armstrong running very, very wide in the background there on the exit of the centre S's around Curvin de Sol. And that car is not a happy bunny tonight of Armstrong's. These guys, there's less around about half a second covering all three of them.
Thank you very much for TRL Racing Line for the overlay props.
Thank you for that. Really appreciate that. Yeah, we've got Hitchin. Oh, Hitchin thudding into the back there of Xander Hill. A bit Lamborghini on Lamborghini action, and this gives Bacon a chance now to maybe capitalise. Where these two guys are feeling a little bit vulnerable for him. They're slightly coming together there. Two Lamborghini drivers not wanting to take each other out as they fend off the two Ferraris right behind them of Bacon and Green, who are looming and looking to capitalise. Bacon obviously just not able to quite capitalise that time around, but while those two have their slight come together, that's given Edisford in the red BMW in front of them chance to escape, as Bacon just showing that Ferrari up the inside again and making Hitch and think and look into his mirrors, just trying to make him unsettle maybe a bit there, Ian, as they come around the centre S's.
Yeah, those centre S's, I mean, they're really hard to deal with because you just come off turn 13, 14 and 15 where you're at full chat, and there's that huge braking zone before you come into that turn 1, and you really want to try and pick your line through. There's that, so it's so hard to judge.
Wow, we've got Bacon, he's swarming all over the back of Hitchin right now. The fight of the Italian manufacturers here, and it's trying to waste. They're all sort of tripping up over one another as Hitchin's trying to find a way past Hill. It's then leaving himself a little bit vulnerable to Bacon as he tries to find his way past Hitchin, and then sat behind him is Green. He's looking to capitalise as well, and they're absolutely all swarming all over the back. I think that's Tom Farrell that's coming round to lap him and negotiate him. That's going to give Hill a little bit of a gap as Farrell sits between the two Lamborghinis there, but that's just going to back Hitchin up into Bacon.
And here we go, the leader has just crossed and we've got the last lap right now. So here we go, this is it, last chance to make anything happen.
We've hardly mentioned Keith McKenna, such as been so comfortable for him. Obviously, after Dominic Roberts and it was came in from the lead. But here we go. That's Green. He's sent it up. That's moved done surely up the inside of Bacon. But he's going to fight back here, Ian. He's not letting out of the pace. He's saying, no, you're not quite having it just off me once yet. But here comes Green. He looks to have got the better traction off of Curda del Sol. They head down Retro-Aposta. Now, for the last time, Green's going to have the inside line. We saw last season what happened with Green when he came together with Lawson here. But Baker's going to run it round the outside. These two still side by side, not budging one single bit. Neither one wanting to yield at all. But it looks like Baker's just managed to carry that last bit of momentum there. And
that's excellent speed management from Bacon there around the larger radius. Just go around the outside, round those two corners, and just maintain that lead. That was he nearly overcooks it a little bit. Maybe that's given him enough. Oh, that is such a shame for
This is
that
so
beautiful overtake.
close. Well, while
He
this is going
overcooked
on,
it.
Kiefer McKenna is your winner, but we can't break away from this battle as these two do not want to let each other go. The fight for the last place, this fight over 15th place between Green and Bacon. And I think he's managed to pull up a bit of a gap now. It's all about, can he get the good exit? He has. He's not bumped himself across the curves at all. And bar the dramatic curse of the commentator kicking in now, as Green just giving it the flash on the lights as one last attempt to try and do something, but he's unsuccessful. Wow, what a grandstand finish, but it's still not quite finished. We've got Rob Armstrong and Neil Smith, only 2 attempts separating those two guys as they come across the line. And Smith's just managed to pip Armstrong there. That is for 21st place. Great drive to the line there from Smith in his Mercedes. See Mercedes on Mercedes there between Armstrong and Smith. But wow, Ian, what a battle all the way down to the last lap. And
Insane race.
didn't even get to mention that the battle that was going on for second place between Tennant and Busby, let alone Keith McKenna being our race winner.
Mechanics 2 donuts in that first corner there in Cueva do Sol runoff. He did a great race, superb race there, composed.
Superb. Well,
But I mean, I don't know if you saw it because, like, with 9 laps to go, McKenna, a rookie, had 7.7 seconds ahead, and he finished 8.2. So he managed to open up half a second lead on Paul Busby, an elite driver, in 9 laps.
Do you want to take us through our Class 5 results, Ian?
Absolutely. So we have in position 1, Kiefer McKenna with a sterling drive. Paul Busby second with that early pit, really sorted him out there. Tom Tennant in third, Tim Darracott fourth, Damien Labette in fifth, Ben Cullen in sixth, Nathan Willoughby in seventh, Stuart Bickley in eighth, David Lewison in ninth, and Daniel Taylor in 10th. And just the other points. So we've got Chris Edisford, Xander Hill, Chris Hitchin, Gary Bacon, Lee Green, James Armstrong, Cy Anthony, Steve Hughes, and Murray Luca in 20th with the last of the points, and Neil Smith in 21st.
Wait for that to click over.
So I imagine we've got the championship coming up any second. There we go. So we've got Paul Busby, who managed to stay in front with that second win. There's no drop weeks listed, so I'm not sure how that would affect this championship grid, but you've got Tom Tennant in second. I believe Tennant is a rookie, so that's a sterling work from here. And Keith McKenna, also a rookie. Incredible work from those two guys. So they'll definitely be in the elite division next season, I feel. Jonathan Hitchin in fourth, Alberto Gavilli fifth, James Armstrong sixth, Damien Abet seventh, Charlie Bebb eighth, Dominic Roberts ninth, and Andres Bedoya managed to hang on to 10th, drops a position. Excuse me, Matt Cox in 11th, Nathan Willoughby, Tim Darracott, Chatterton, Jones, Cheryl, William, Gosling, Hyde, Anthony, and Wiley in 21st, who's dropped 4 positions.
Well, I think, Ian, if you're obviously just looking at those standings there, you just got to take a look, obviously, at Jonathan Hitchin. Obviously, that incident earlier on just costing him dearly in terms of championship standings, and so unlucky. And just from one incident, and we've seen him. I think he probably would have been able to take the fight to Busby there, but it's cost him a little bit there, hasn't it?
Oh, excuse me. Yes, absolutely. But also, and we were kind of questioning Paul Busby's judgment a little bit when he took that pit stop so early. But that was clearly a great strategy to use because he jumped. He probably jumped about 10 positions as everyone else started to come in, and then managed to push his way up to second position. So clearly, that was a great strategy.
Well, yeah, he was able to close up some of the time to McKenna, and what looked like a bit of a mad move from Busby, who pitted. Just looking at the data now, look, around about the next closest person would be, I think about 4 laps after him. But what turned out to be an absolute little masterstroke from Busby there,
It was a
and
quality decision.
it was, yeah. It looked bizarre at the time, especially as he's running a little bubble by himself. But sometimes these little moves work out an absolute treat. I don't know about yourself. What would be your favourite moment in the race, Ian?
Oh goodness. Okay. And now you put me on the spot, right? Let's think. Let's think.
We've had
Okay.
so many.
So
This is half the trouble, really. For myself, it has to be really that battle that we had between Ben Cullen and Armstrong and Willoughby and Labette, where they were just
I think I'm going to have to
all over
agree. It
each
was
other.
just like Cullen just basically hanging on to Armstrong, but you could see that Armstrong was uncomfortable in that GT3, that Mercedes.
Oh yeah,
It was
it did not
skittering
look
about.
happy.
It was skittering about, wasn't it?
It
It was
looked
just basically hanging on. Uh, you know when you're hanging on to the steering wheel, you're not really
yes.
driving it. You're basically hanging on with your fingertips, wanting the car to go around the corner, but you're not really controlling it. It seemed as though Armstrong was not really in full control of that car, and it eventually showed.
I mean, it just looked like he was trying to ride like a bucking bronco through treacle. Just looked like an absolute nightmare for him. But to pull out the result he did, with it looking the way it did, I think it's hats off to him really, and just shows what a great driver he is, and
Mhm.
what's how great so many of the other drivers are within the league. And talking about league in general, obviously, if you think I'd love to be a part of this action, you can head across to our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/iRacing UK, where you can look to join our community. I know they're taking entrance for season 4. Can you believe that already? It says, I don't know where it's quite gone. I know the team behind the league, Dan Smith, is and his team are working really hard on putting together what I'm sure is going to be yet again an absolutely epic season of action in GT3s here on iRacing UK.
Where's the league going to next, Tim?
Good question, and I was hoping you weren't going to ask me that because I can't remember off the top of my
Oh,
head,
I'm
which is
sorry, I
really
really
bad.
put you on the
But
spot there because
you've
I didn't know
thrown me
either.
under the bus there, mate.
Absolutely thrown you under the front wheels of that Porsche 911
You
GT3
did,
as it
but
rolled over you and broke your ankles. So
I
there we
know,
go.
shocking. But yeah, we'll be back in 2 weeks' time for the next round, which will be yet again, as you've seen here tonight. It will be yet another great night of action. I know, definitely. So obviously you can join. I believe that we are back. So it's of course, I know it's just come to me. It's Villeneuve, the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve over in Montreal in Canada. And it's the first time we've been there for GT3s in the iRacing UK League, and I think that is going to be one definitely not to miss. Of course, it's the
It's a
final
fast
league.
circuit.
It's a fast circuit with some real pinch points. It's a mix between standard track and a street circuit almost. You've got the Wall of Champions. How many people are going to put it in there? I think that's going to be an interesting one to see. And then also you've got turn 3 and 4 underneath the trees. That sort of chicane after the first couple of corners, where the track is incredibly narrow, and I think that could get maybe a little bit spicy through there. But make sure you tune in from 8 o'clock in 2 weeks' time here on iRacing UK to not miss out on the last round of the league, because that is definitely going to be one to watch. Thank you for Miles Ragg for the follow. Really appreciate that one, along with everyone else who's put in follows. If you're watching over on Twitch, don't forget to follow us over on YouTube. Drop us a like and a subscription. Really appreciated. We will see, for us as a team, we will see you in 2 weeks' time. But don't forget to tune in on a Tuesday night where we've got the F3 League. And that is definitely, I think they're off to the Red Bull Ring. So that's going to be a nice, interesting race to watch and tune in for. That'll be Chris Rowlands. So make sure you tune in and give him a bit of support and love. And we've seen some absolutely great action from the F3 guys. So I'm sure that'll be another great night of action there as well. And also the first time they've headed to a new track for them for the league. being the Red Bull Ring. So, thank you everyone for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm sure you've enjoyed it as well. I hope you've had a good weekend, and we look forward to see you in 2 weeks' time. From all of us here on Total Sim Sports, broadcasting on the behalf of iRacing UK, thank you and good night.
Thank you all.